Okay, good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. Board President to advise members of the audience that they may address the board regarding agenda items after the superintendent's report. Only those members whose names and addresses are listed on the sign-in sheet available prior to the start of the meeting will be recognized during new business. The chairperson will limit discussions of any item by the public to 3 minutes in order for the board to expeditiously conduct its business. Mr. Dolan.
I'm very excited tonight. You know, I want to wish everybody who celebrated a happy Hanukkah, and now we're into the joyous time of the year, the holidays, Christmas and New Year's. Heard something the other day that I really liked. If you're realistic and optimistic, your life is going to be filled with hope. And I'm very excited that my report really has very little to do with me tonight and a tremendous amount to do with what's coming, the future. But before I turn the mic over to Mr. Bernard, on Monday, we will post on our website applications for our long-range planning committee, which I also think fits into the theme of being realistic and optimistic and having hope, because hope is the key ingredient to overcoming adversity. And we've been faced over the last 18 months with a lot of adversity. This long-range planning committee, and the hope is last time we did the same thing and we had a pretty large committee, but we want to get everybody who wants to be on it, even if it means we have to buddy up and pair up. So this committee's charge is going to be, what do we want East Islip to look like in 2025 and in 2030? I applaud the folks from 2015. We checked all the boxes and then some. We were ahead of where we thought we'd be in 2015, but we don't have time to rest. We have to keep moving the district forward. There are lots of wonderful things to celebrate, and tonight is a return to what the superintendent's report should be. Mr. Bernard is, and we targeted the high school because we know these are the folks that have the least amount of time left with us, but are people who are going to go out and do some pretty wonderful things in this world. So I'd ask Mr. Bernard to come to the microphone and begin the introductions of some super students at the high school, and it's the reason I have so much hope for the future. So Mr. Bernard, it's all yours, buddy.
Thank you, Mr. Dolan. Thank you, Board of Education, Assistant Superintendents Bells, Manzo, and Harrison. This mic is not cooperating. Wants to dip on me. So this evening we are going to be recognizing 20 of our high school students. I'll be taking care of the first 5, and I'll ask Ms. Lester to come up to recognize her mock trial students. So first we have a couple of our seniors. So high scores on the PSAT and the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Tests may find themselves named as commended students by the National Merit Scholarship Committee in September of their senior year. So we have 2 students this evening that will be recognized. They both received letter of commendations, and these students are generally in the top 3 to 4% of the PSAT scores, and this represents about 35,000 students. So of the 1 million juniors that take the PSAT and the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, these students have been recognized. So a very, very small percentage of students are recognized for this, and we're very proud to have them in East Islip High School. So I'd like to bring up Jake Tomset. And Ryan Offont. Gentlemen, congratulations, Brian. And we also have 2 certificates from Mr. Dolan and the Board of Education. Congratulations, guys. I'm going to get a photo over here. Over here? Our next student is a junior at the high school, and actually she's in receipt of 2 awards from the College Board for excellence in academic achievement in the National Hispanic Recognition Program and the National Indigenous Recognition Program. Students who receive this award have taken the PSAT in the fall of their sophomore year and have scored in the top 10% of the state. And she also maintains a GPA of 3.5 or higher. So I'd like to recognize our junior, Sarah Vasquez. Congratulations, Sarah. You're going to have 2. Our next student, a senior at the high school, is currently being featured on News 12. There's a small segment that is being run as we speak, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see that at that 10 o'clock in the rerun of that segment. So, I have a little letter here, signed by, hold on a moment, I apologize. By Mr. Trevor Packer, I was going to say Packer, which reads, Dear Kiara, I'm writing to share some exciting news. Your performance on the AP Research exam in May of 2021 was so superior that it falls into an extremely select category. So just so you know, there were 24,049 students that took this exam in the world. As you know, the advanced placement exam are scored on a scale of 1 to 5. You not only received the top score of a 5, which represents about 14% of the students who took the exam, but were also one of only 375 students, amounting to just 1.56% of the 2021 AP Research exam takers from around the world to earn every point possible. So she got an 80 out of 80 on the exam. Congratulations, Kiara. Come on over here. Go on this side. The letter goes on to read, we applaud you, your mastery of the content and skills of the AP course and wish you many future successes. Congratulations. Congratulations. Excellent. So please be sure to check out News 12. Okay, our next student. She has earned all-county, all-conference, and MVP awards in basketball, field hockey, and lacrosse. She was nominated for All-State Defensive Player of the Year in field hockey and named a Scholar Athlete for 3 years in a row. Recently, she signed a letter of intent to play lacrosse at the University of Colorado Boulder next fall. I'd like to recognize Jessica Peluso. At this time, I'd like to bring up Ms. Lester, who's going to recognize her mock trial team at the high school.
Thank you, Mr. Bernard. Thank you, Mr. Dolan, Superintendent Bells, Manzo, and Harrison, Mr. Zachary, and the rest of the board. Thank you so much for having us. I have been extremely fortunate for the past 22 years to be coaching the mock trial team here at the high school. And every year it presents me with the opportunity to work with the smartest, funniest, hardest working kids that you could ever wish for. And this year we were able to resume a tradition that we had to drop because of the pandemic. We used to go to Harvard University every year for an incredible seminar program run by their mock trial team. And this year we were given permission, thank you from the board, to go back. And so this year we competed at Harvard with 15 students, and we did very, very well. So I'd ask the team to come up, please. So this just represents a sample of the kids on the mock trial team. We have other members, and they competed. Some of them are brand new. Some of them have been with me since they were freshmen, and they really make me proud every day. But I'd like to bring forward our captains, G and Emily. G and Emily are both seniors, have both been with me since they were freshmen, and at the Harvard seminar, they were both recognized for outstanding performance. If you want to just give them to me, Mr. Bernardo. But we so appreciate the support of the community, the support of the parents, being willing to drive kids to school at all sorts of hours, 1 in the morning, picking us up at random times, and these kids who devote their Saturdays and their after schools to me, as well as their honors classes, their AP classes, their sports, and all their other commitments. So thank you to all of you, and thank you to the kids for what you do.
How about a nice round of applause for Mr. Bernard? And ladies and gentlemen, we do know the camera here is limited. We are looking to move our meetings over to the middle school auditorium where we think we hope we can get better camera angles, because it's time, as much as we love also the online component of what we do, it's just really nice to have students back here, because you don't need a superintendent if you don't have great students, so you wouldn't need a superintendent's report. And we hit the whole gamut here tonight. You know, we have academic success, we have competitive success, both athletically and academically. And, you know, people talk all the time about getting kids to put their phones down or disengage from computers. Now, I think that's unrealistic, because their world is going to be much different than the world I grew up in, the world the adults grew up in. But providing opportunities, whether it's athletic, academic, or, you know, things like the mock trial, which is competitive academic, kids do put their phones down and they pull together and work together, whether it's research class, mock trial, or on the athletic fields. And, you know, I give the board a lot of credit. We've updated the facilities here to give students opportunities to put their electronics down and figure out how to work together as a team. So again, like I said, be realistic, be optimistic, and you'll always have hope. And I know the future is bright because of what we just saw here tonight. So we'll get better with the meeting and the camera. I do want to make one announcement. Mr. Rulin, Trustee Rulin wasn't able to be here tonight. His father-in-law, Charles Panzer, who was a 1950s graduate of East Islip, passed away. For those of you that don't know, Mr. Rulin's wife taught here for 33 years down at Timber Point. So we just ask you keep them in their thoughts, and you know, you keep you know, the entire family, the Panzer family, the Rulin family, and all the siblings in your thoughts and prayers tonight. Mr. Rulin asked me to just pass that along to you, and he also wanted to thank, you know, all the good wishes he's gotten from the community. So we'll turn it over back to Mr. Zachary.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dolan. Mr. Bernard? Okay, any public comments on agenda items only? Okay, be resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education approves the resignations, terminations, leaves of absence, position abolitions, employment appointments, tenure appointments, and salary changes in accordance with applicable provisions of educational and civil service law as cited in the non-certified...
Wait, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are leaving early to do your homework, just remember your parents really should take you out for ice cream before you get home, okay? But guys, get home, do your homework, have a nice night.
Yeah, no problem. We'll wait a minute. Okay, non-certified personnel attachments. Can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education approves the resignations, terminations, leaves of absence, position abolitions, employment appointments, tenure appointments, and salary changes in accordance with applicable provisions of education law and civil service law as cited in the certified personnel attachments. Can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved that the Board of Education of the East Islip Union Free School District, having reviewed a settlement agreement involving 2 members of the non-instructional staff in executive session, hereby approves such settlement agreements and authorizes and directs the Superintendent of Schools and Board of Education President to execute such settlement agreements on behalf of the board. Can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda items.
be 9 to through 9/13?
Well,
It says
12.
9/1 to 9/11, but it should be the 9/13, right? I don't, it doesn't matter, I mean,
12
do
and
both.
13.
12 to 13 is CSE recommendations and discards.
The appropriation changes.
That's 15. 14 is a donation. It doesn't matter, I mean, you
all
just
right.
have to read them, it's up to you.
Actually, I was going to ask to remove 9.7, 9.8, and 9.11. So consent agenda 9.1 through 9.6, and then 9.9 and 9.10.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So down to 9.7. Has to do with the corrective action plan from our internal auditors. Mr. Harrison, can you tell us what the corrective action plan that they recommended?
The district is required to have an internal audit processed every school year. The district, along with the audit committee and our auditors, agree upon a area of focus. The area of focus for this particular audit was the Buildings and Grounds Department, and the department received very favorable praise throughout the audit. The audit team makes some recommendations of different areas where procedures can be strengthened, and the district was in agreement with what was presented and developed a corrective action plan to address these items over the next 1 to 2 school years. So the audit committee met last Wednesday to review the corrective action plan and is now recommending this corrective action plan to the Board of Education for approval.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. 9.8, be resolved that the Board of Education accepts the corrective action plan developed in response to recommendations made to the district by our external auditors. The correction action plan has been reviewed and is being recommended by the district's audit committee. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. And Mr. Harrison, the external auditors.
This audit focuses on the financial statements of the district. It's performed each year. During the audit process, there are recommendations that are made to the district for strengthening of processes. These are not significant or deficiencies, but they're more or less just recommendations that the auditors see when they look through our processes surrounding the financial statements. So again, the audit committee met last week to consider the corrective action plan. This had to do with the school lunch program and available monies that are in the program. So the district had to develop a plan to increase spending for capital assets, repairs of major systems, and purchasing of supplies. And that's the corrective action plan to address the funds that are available as part of the cafeteria program.
Thank you, and thank you to the business department and the audit committee. The audit committee spends a lot of time throughout the year working with the auditors. So thank you very much to our volunteers on the audit committee and to the business department for all the work that they do for that as well.
And thank you, and I also like to echo the thanks to the audit committee, Mr. Zachary, Ms. Walsh, Mr. Madden, Ms. Rice, and Ms. Spina. So thanks again for all their support throughout the year.
Okay. Now I took out 9/11, which 9/11 on our computer is different than 9/11 on the paper. So now the penalty is I have to read it. Whereas the Board of
Oh, it's switched.
Education of the East Islip Union Free School District received bids for the renovation of the maintenance garage at the JFK Elementary School. Whereas the school district received 10 bids, whereas the school district's architect, project manager, and administration have reviewed the bids for the project, and whereas based on the review of the bids, the Board of Education of the East Islip Union Free School District believes it will be in the best interests of the school district to reject the bids received for the project. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Education hereby rejects all bids submitted for the project. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
9.12, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools hereby approves the recommendation of the Committee on Special Education and the Committee on Preschool Special Education. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the disposal of a WISC-4 testing kit as requested by the Special Education Department. This testing kit has been declared obsolete. Motion.
Motion.
I gave you the one, Mike.
You second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All two of us are eyeing.
Here's the one I wanted taken out of consent. Be resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the donation of an alto saxophone from a resident. This alto saxophone is a Selmer student model and is valued at approximately $400. The instrument will be a wonderful addition to the music department's inventory. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you to this anonymous resident who's donating this very nice piece of equipment back to the music school. So thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the attached list of appropriation changes for the 2021-22 school year. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Boring.
All in favor?
Aye.
Old business. The Montori report. Anybody have any old business?
Is this where we talk about committee meetings? No, we do that in new business.
Well, we'll do it right now. Actually, we have one stop first. New course offerings at the high school. Who's going to take this?
All right, so I'm pleased to announce that our directors and teachers have worked very hard at putting together some course offerings for the 22-23 academic year, and with the support of the Board of Education, I'm pleased to announce that we're going to be offering 5 new courses next year. The first course being in the business department, it'll be a financial literacy course. It will be titled Real World Financial Applications. It's going to be offered for 11th and 12th graders. It will entail banking, savings, checking, investing, calculations of loans, and other financial matters. The second and third course offerings will be the trial and debate. It will be within the social studies department, and it'll involve developing valuable speaking and analytical skills while studying and researching facts, policy, and value-based debate propositions. The other course will be the participation in government course, which will meet the graduation requirement, and it's more along the lines of Generation Citizen through civic engagement. That course will involve project-based learning. It'll involve community service and things along those lines to help out community events. And again, it'll be a very hands-on type of program. We'll have one course that's going to be offered through the math department, statistics and data science. This course is being offered as an additional opportunity for students to participate in a 4th year of math, choosing statistics, data science. It's an introductory type of course, but it'll keep our students engaged and help them be better prepared for a college level course. The last course will be a music course. It'll be titled Music, Mindfulness, and Therapeutic Movement. This course will introduce students to the concept of music, mindfulness, and different forms of therapeutic movement from around the globe. This course, again, will be introduced and taught by a music teacher, and these are all going to be offered at the high school.
Very nice. I love hearing about new courses being offered. How do you come about picking these courses? Is there a student survey? Does the staff have any participation? How do you go about knowing what courses to add?
I believe there's a conversation between the directors and the teachers, and they come together and they, based on student interest, that's how they come up with the proposed courses.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you to our guidance department staff for working with the kids and coming up with courses that they want to take and are going to help them achieve great things here. So thank you.
Thank you for your support.
New business.
I went to this week's Excellence in Learning Committee meeting, and I came away very, very impressed with everybody who was in the meeting. It included all the buildings, principals and teachers, directors, members of the cabinet, and everyone was very impressive. There's a lot of really good things going on here. So that was good to see, you know, coming out of the pandemic, it was good to see a lot of smiling faces with a lot of good new ideas to help kids, so I was really impressed with it. Very happy when I left.
Great. Any other new business?
So I had some new business I just wanted to talk about. I was able to go to the tree lighting that the Chamber of Commerce sponsored on Tuesday night. We had RCK students down there. We had the kids from the choir singing as well as the band. It was really great seeing the community coming together. A lot, like Bill said, a lot of smiling faces. It was really, really good. Appreciate the fire department and all the work that they did to help secure the site and everything. But I wanted to just thank the Chamber as well. It was a very good put-together event, and I want to thank the kids that participated. I also wanted just to mention about the concerts that we had this past week for all the music. It was great, very, very good to see, again, seeing the community being involved. As a parent of middle school children who were singing at the chorus, it was great to see them, seeing, you know, other parents surrounding us watching these events. It was very great to see. And I'm also looking forward to Saturday, seeing the play. So if anybody's interested, again, the play is tomorrow and Saturday with the Drama Club. So I want to thank, you know, the Drama Club for putting that together, and Dr. Waddle for all his work with the concerts this past week. It was very well put together. Thank you.
Yeah, that tree lighting was a great event. Mr. Tucker did a great job. I know we had the orchestra there as well. And thank you to Mr. Gabriel and the Chamber for putting that together. We do have the play tomorrow and Saturday, Christmas Carol, 2 o'clock on Saturday, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. The seats are selling fast. Trust me, I got mine late, and that was a mistake. So if you'd like to go, it's going to be a great production. Mrs. Affelt and the whole music department always do an outstanding job, and our kids are amazing. So if you're not doing anything tomorrow night or 2 o'clock on Saturday, come on down and see what amazing talent we have here in East Islip. So, A Christmas Carol, yes.
Is it true that Mr. Dolan is playing the Ghost of Christmas Past? Is that true? You heard that? That's what I heard too. I mean the Ghost of Distant Past.
I thought he was going to be Scrooge.
I got to tell you right now, I wish I had enough talent to be in that cast and crew. I've been able to see some of the rehearsals. The costumes are beautiful. I don't know where they got them, but the energy level and the you know, if you can get to that play, it's well worth seeing. I mean, the kids are excited, and it's with that theme of we're coming back, we have hope, we're moving back, we're moving forward. But tomorrow night at 7 o'clock and Saturday matinee at 2 o'clock.
What else we got going on? A lot of events coming up between the concerts, and I know EJ Autism is going to have their hoodie event. Please look out for that. That's going to be, I believe, a Friday night in January. Probably the day after, or it's the week before our meeting. I think it's January 7th. So please look out for that. That's a great, great foundation. They raise a lot of money for a great cause, and it's a great event. So trust me, if you haven't gone to a hoodie yet, you want to be there. It's a great event, so look out for that. We have EI Maps. Are we doing our clothes drive in January? Ms. O'Hara, do we have a date for that yet? Keep an eye out for it. It will be on Facebook. It will be all over the place. So if you want to think about cleaning out your closets over Christmas break, save them for EI Maps. Another great organization, does great things for our kids. So please, when you clean out your closets, hold on to it. And within a couple weeks after that, EI Maps will have a great event that you could go get rid of all the old stuff and help raise money for our kids. Any other events? Go ahead. Which one?
Ava's wreaths are tomorrow at JFK. Oh no, Saturday at JFK. So if you need a Christmas wreath, get down there and support another great cause.
All good things. All good things in this holiday season. Anything else? Anything else under new business? Okay. Stephanie.
see so many great things happening around the district.
Happy belated birthday, Ms. O'Hara. I believe you had a birthday in the last week?
I did. Welcome
Happy
back
birthday.
from Florida.
Yes.
I just had a question about winter track, and I wanted to address what's going on there. Our kids have worked really hard, and after last year where they were competing outside under less than ideal conditions, some meets were canceled because of snow. My own daughter was running with asthma in freezing cold conditions. She has since graduated, but I have another daughter who's on winter track, and now once again we are faced with no venue. We should be at Suffolk Community College, and I know it's not the district per se, but Section 11, and we do have people here who need to advocate for our kids and get on Section 11, and our kids should be competing at Suffolk Community College after last year. There's really no excuse for this.
We agree with you. In fact, I saw Mr. Restivo the other day. As I saw him walking the other way, I called him back to talk to him about this and ask him about it, what's going on. And obviously, it's a Section 11 thing. It's not necessarily an East Islip thing going on, but still, I asked him what's happening and to put on some pressure, whatever he can do. Apparently, it is an issue between Suffolk County Community College and Section 11 as far as fees, insurance. I think Suffolk's had some issues with people getting hurt, and they're asking for some very expensive things. So we hope that this will be worked out soon, but we will continue to talk with Section 11 and be involved as much as we can, but I don't know how much.
Look, I mean, this is, and I'm gonna say this carefully, and Megan, I know you well enough, and I feel like you'll forgive me if I say the wrong thing. Look, we're a school district. We advocate for kids all the time. We have to be very careful because we're not a political arm. The problem here, and it's really not even Section 11, Suffolk Community College, owned by Suffolk County, has said there's an issue with insurance. We're certainly not privy to all the details, but we have a direct pipeline to Section 11. They understand that not only us, but all of the school districts are not happy about this, but we need to, again, lobby the Suffolk County Legislature, because they oversee the county, and the college is owned by the county. And I'm not looking to push blame but in terms of, I applaud Mr. Restivo because we didn't see this coming. We had heard some rumors, but Mr. Restivo came to us the other day with an alternative plan. Thank God we have a facility here, we have lights. We're gonna work to do our best to provide, and it's not perfect. We'd rather not have the kids outside, but we need a concerted effort. We could call Section 11, and then Section 11 can call Suffolk County Community College, but people, if you're not happy, a simple email to our legislature saying, could you move this along? Because if it's a question of an insurance fee, I think if we shared that fee across the county, the school districts would be happy to pay a little more money to get our kids back on the track. So we ask that folks put pressure where...
That would be Mr. Flottering and
Mr.
Ms.
Flottering,
Bergen now.
Mrs. Bergen.
No, Tom's still here, but I would imagine this will
Yeah,
get resolved
Tom's
in
done
Ms.
in June, yeah.
Bergen's term. So.
And again, they're great people, and I'm sure they're aware of it, but, when we see them at events, we mention these things, but if nobody speaks up, they don't know how many people are impacted. We tell them we have a large track program, and we do believe that I know Section is advocating to get the kids back in there. They know we're not happy, and every school that uses Suffolk Community College, we're deeply appreciative that we have the facility, but we'll continue to advocate, but the kids can do a nice job. If the kids write nice emails, and that's one of the things I had said to them one day outside, they can write a nice email saying, hey, we want to run track, how can we get back in there? And like I said, I don't want to start negotiating here, but I don't think there's a school in the county that would not, if they come to us and say we need more insurance, we'll make it work. so.
Thank you, yeah. Maybe they can also explore other venues or some kind, there has to be some kind of solution. I just, they found out, my daughter thought Friday night she was competing Sunday, and I found out it was canceled before she even did. So there just has to be something after last year. I mean, believe me, they were advocating since, for a long time now to
Yeah.
get back in sports.
And of course, who gets hurt? The kids. So
Hopefully we can,
it should be resolved hopefully soon, but like I said, we'll
and I know you guys are advocating, but I just know, we have an athletic director too for a reason, and I just want to make sure that everyone's, really pushing, and if all the athletic directors come together and push sections.
like I said, I spoke to him the other day, and I know he's doing all he can. So we'll continue to advocate for that, and hopefully that gets resolved shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. You too.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, I want to say congratulations. I mean, all the students left, but congratulations to all the students getting award and recognized tonight. It wouldn't be a pandemic board meeting if I didn't bring up vaccines, right? So I just wanted to kind of just check in and see how we were doing. I know you had promised that letter to the governor for this board meeting this evening, so I wanted to see what the status on that was. And also there's been some rumors going on around about some January 6th possible vaccine mandate for the schools from the governor. And I just want to see if you guys heard anything about that, what your thoughts were. And, although it sounds like all cupcakes and rainbows in here, we know out there it's not. So just want to see where we stood with that.
I mean, as far as, I have no inside information as to what the governor, as far as I know, nobody does. I don't know who started this rumor. I don't know if it was the governor herself or somebody else.
Apparently, School District had sent out, like an email to the parents saying that if they were, whatever their feelings were for or against it, to reach out to the governor and
Right.
send her, a letter, which, we all do, but we really need you guys to back us up for this, to not have this mandate. So, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Well, just so you know, I mean, and as far as the cupcakes and rainbows, we're realistic, but we're also hopeful. And remember, during tough times like this, we need to really encourage the kids that they can overcome adversity. Now, we put a letter up on Tuesday, which is the letter we've been talking about. The letter, I think, we actually, we wrote our letter and basically said we support the way West Islip said it, because we are working together to try to get a consensus in the county. But the letter says basically, tell us when we can take the masks off, give us some sort of rubric, some sort of, so that we can work towards it together. It was very clearly stated in the letter. The second one was we asked about the testing, because we've tested approximately 700 times and had one positive. So we're testing asymptomatic people. That's our staff, and it's
Are you testing the vaccinated as well, or just
well, no,
the
and
unvaccinated?
no, it's just the unvaccinated staff. And as far as the vaccines, what we're saying is, we believe that for children, there should be a decision made between the family doctor and the parents. We're not looking to take a political stand, a medical stand. We understand that if something is mandated, it's going to be very disruptive for the people we care the most about, our kids and our families. This is an extremely emotionally charged issue. The governor made an announcement. I got an alert at about 7 o'clock tonight that she's going to make some kind of announcement tomorrow. I've been in meetings for the last several weeks, because at the last meeting I said we had a series of meetings. The county school districts seem to be coming together under the guise of, we would like to know when we can take the masks off. We feel the testing mandate, testing asymptomatic people is a mandate that, it just creates more stress for us and more work, quite frankly, which we could, and drains our resources when we could be taking care of the kids. And we're saying, we're not commenting on anybody over 18, but we're saying children should be, families should be allowed to work with their physician, which I think are all very realistic. And, we seem to be building a consensus in that area. If somebody has a crystal ball, I have not heard January 5th, I've not heard anything. I've not heard anything specific, and I've heard a whole lot of conjecture. The sad part is, the governor's gonna go on TV tomorrow somewhere around lunchtime, and we're gonna be working, and your folks are we don't have TVs upstairs to watch, and who knows what she's gonna say. But I will say this, Senator Wyke is sort of taking the lead here. Phil Boyle's been a senator we're very proud of Phil, he graduated, East Islip graduate, but Senator Wyke is kind of taking the lead in this area in terms of a campaign to contact the governor. We're talking to some neighboring districts. We're gonna pass that information on. I know one district already put it out. We needed to have some discussion as a board together and vet it out, but either tomorrow or Monday, we'll be passing along Senator Wyke's information.
Right, that's exactly what the letter I'm referring to.
And you know
which
what?
again, we have all listened to you. We've been reaching out to senators and governors and everybody, but we just really need like the support of all the districts behind us to really make a difference. Because a couple parents here and there, those emails, it's not doing anything. We really need the support of you guys. And again, I'm not judging vaccinated or not vaccinated. We just really want that option to choose for ourselves. So, I know you don't like to be in the spotlight and all that kind of stuff. You don't want your name in the paper, but, it's coming down to the wire now, so.
Well, approximately half the districts in the county have now put out letters. We believe and many others are in the works. As superintendents, we're in constant contact, especially in Islip. And again, in the end, we have no more voice than you. And that's why it's important if you feel a certain way, this is, the elected officials, we need to reach out to them.
I think you do have more of a voice, though. I think all together, as a united front, it would. But, I appreciate it. I'm not, I'm not up here bullying you. I appreciate everything that you're doing. Just wanted to check in.
No, the letter's there and we'll continue. And I don't think the board is going to move off of when can we take the masks off? When can we stop testing asymptomatic people? And could you please allow families to work with their doctors on what's best for their children?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Has our accidental governor, has she responded to any of these letters that we sent?
Wait, what did you call her?
Our accidental governor.
But she hasn't called.
She hasn't called?
Hasn't called, hasn't written.
My other question is, I thought this mandate for the mask was 90 days in length. Is it possible that her announcement tomorrow has to do with that 90-day deadline?
Well, no, they extended it at the end of November, so now we're into November, December, January, February. The new mask mandate will expire right after February break.
So it won't have anything to do with that then?
Listen, it's total conjecture. All I know is I got an alert that said there's going to be an announcement tomorrow. Now remember, all of these state officials are running for re-election, and they are running hard, and they've started already. So the more you get your face out there, so...
But they don't even have a say, apparently, in this.
Well, what?
Even our representatives. Apparently, this is all up to the governor. She's making the calls, and even ignoring them.
Well,
There's only one way it ends.
she gets a report card in November.
Well, that's when the
She
people
gets-
really need to speak up.
Well, I mean, it's a great system. Democracy is a great system, but you got to be in it for the long haul, and you don't get instant gratification. It's a constant grind, a constant grind, a constant grind. And I have a lot of respect for our elected officials. Don't always agree with all of them, but if you believe something, I find if you're polite, respectful, and relentless, they'll eventually hear you.
I will respectfully disagree with you with respect to that. Meaning that democracy is not a great system, because what's happening now is the mob is controlling and denying certain groups of people what they wish to do. And I believe, and I don't want to put words in the mouths of the people who are anti-maskers in this district. The anti-maskers are not asking to rip the mask off people who want their children to have masks on. They're asking for the permission to take the masks off their own children, right? The mask optional. Like, democracy is not a good system if it's always going to be the minority that suffers, right? When you go home tonight and you ask, what are we having for dinner? And the three people say, we're gonna have Chinese food, and you don't like Chinese food. You're always eating Chinese food. You don't like it. Democracy sucks. That's why we don't have a democracy.
You sound like my kids.
That's true, though. We don't even have a democracy, and now, as a result, we don't even have that. We have some sort of authoritarian up there telling us what to do, not following. I'll give you an example. Are we socially distant in school right now? Are we 6 feet apart?
That's no longer the rule.
Well, why not?
'Cause they
Where'd that rule
changed-
go? That rule went because they were like, holy crap, we got to get the kids back in school. So that wasn't based on anything. The 6-foot rule in the beginning wasn't based on anything, and it's not based on getting
Wait.
rid of it now.
With all, you know, look,
Right?
I don't,
My point is, they've decided what they wanted to get rid of and what they had on a whim, on a hunch. That's not science. So we've been doing everything we're supposed to do, right? We've been writing letters, we've been advocating, you've been talking to people every day, you've been dealing with me every day, and my point is, it's not working, and the frustration is obvious, right? And I know we want to try to keep everyone together, but one side is always losing.
wait, hold on a second. You know, in democracy, a landslide victory is 55% of the vote. And we have very divided communities. That's why part one of the letter, the first bullet, if we had a target to work towards together, that would help unify. The second one is more logistic about the testing. And number
We
three,
can't work, I don't understand when you say that about working towards a target. I don't understand what that means. What do you mean by working towards a target? Waiting for the target to arrive, I'm assuming.
well, again, you know, and nobody's ever really asked me what I personally believe, and I wouldn't even share it if they did probably, because that's not my role. But what I'm watching is, we just saw our local elections, which I believe sent a message across the state and possibly across the country. Now, it is very frustrating, but the reason we have elections once a year and we stagger them and we do local and state and federal is so we have an orderly transition. Now, the folks that are not getting what they want, or who are on the side that did not get the majority vote, they dig in. That's why I said, dig in, work hard, be relentless.
But like
And
Chris
in the
just said,
end-
we all did that. We worked hard, we were
Hold on a
relentless,
second.
we got our people elected, and nothing changed.
Wait, hold on a second.
We can only hope right now that on January 1st, the mayor of New York City says no masks. That's the only thing we can hope for.
Again, he's an elected official, we'll see what he says. I have a tremendous amount of respect for those folks, because you know what? It's not easy to stand up in front of the public, and if you don't get more votes than the other person, you don't get a paycheck. But they're still able to represent us, and they've been shouted at, and the mob has come in, and they yell and they scream. The system has worked for a long time, and we've had unrest before in the country, and I'm sure we'll have it again. The bottom line is this: if we're not happy with the way, because the folks that get elected determine who work in the offices who make these decisions. And I think, again, I believe in the system, and let's see what happens when the new mayor comes in. Let's see what the governor says to, I like that, the accidental governor. And we're gonna keep pushing forward. And we will get through this pandemic. The people in 1918 didn't quit. They just didn't have social media to embarrass themselves on. So we'll get through this. 1918 came out better and stronger. The country got better.
You remember that, huh?
I do.
Steph?
One of the best years of my life. Oh, God. This is going to be good.
Good evening. I have 3 kids in the district. I've spoken up here plenty of times. 2 in the high school, 1 in 3rd grade. Mr. Dolan, you just keep talking about how hopeful, how great things are. Things about 1918. This is 2021. Right now, this isn't about the masks. I mean, it sucks that our kids have to wear them, but unless we're living under a rock, this governor is gunning for our children. And it's like, where is the fight? Are you banning with other districts that are willing to fight? Because our kids are in jeopardy. Like, they get this vaccine, all these kids are getting homeschooled. So I have a couple of questions. If the students that will be forced to homeschool over the vaccine mandate, which I highly believe is coming, will there be any virtual options, and would that need to be approved by the New York State government?
I think we two have become friends over this. We don't, and
Who?
you and I.
I'm not friends, no.
No, we've gotten to
I
know
think
each-
you're a politician at this point. I'm sorry.
Excuse me?
You talk to us like you're on our side, but I feel like you have no fight in you.
What would you like us to do?
Wait,
I
wait,
would
hold
We're
on a
like
second.
issuing
you-
letters, we're emailing. What would you
Hold a
like us
second.
to
I
do?
would
It's
like
not our
you-
decision. What do you want us to do?
No,
I
no,
would
let me-
like you to band with other districts and fight for our kids, because there's power in numbers and there are other districts that are willing to fight. That's what I want. You say that we're a school district that advocates for kids. These kids are going to be forced to get a vaccine that is literally killing kids. Whatever. I'm all pro-choice, but when it comes to this vaccine, I am so against it. My kids will be pulled out, like, immediately. I have an 18-year-old that I told her, I don't care if she's 18 or not, she's not getting that vaccine. So I want to know that this district is fighting. Like, we're the taxpayers paying your salaries. What are you doing for our kids? Was the letter written to Hochul? You said yes?
Wait, what?
Was the letter that you said written to Hochul, that you promised that it was going to be sent to
Yeah.
her?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So are you actually doing anything with the other districts besides just talking? Like, we need answers. What's going to happen if this mandate comes?
In the letter, when you read it, you'll see that we actually said, hey, we're hoping that other districts will join the way we
But
join.
why can't you be the example? Instead of hoping, why can't East Islip be
You
the
didn't let me
example?
finish. You know,
'Cause
you
I'm
come- I'm
frustrated.
gonna point something out.
I am
You
so
come to the
frustrated.
You come to the microphone and say, you already think we're gonna lose.
You
I
don't
never-
think that?
No, you just said the governor's gonna do this.
You don't think so?
What?
You don't think the governor is gunning for our kids?
I don't know the governor, never met her.
I mean, she's like the
Honestly,
devil,
I said I don't know what, I can't worry about what she's thinking.
but it's affecting
I've
our
said
kids.
it very clearly, we want families to be able to work with their doctors to make this decision.
Okay, but the people
And the
that,
letter says, we're with West Islip and we're asking others to join us. It says it's been up for 48 hours. Now, I'm sorry if you don't like the fact that I'm optimistic. I'm sorry if you don't like the fact that I see these kids and they spin light years ahead of the adults. And I do not buy into this, we are going to lose. I don't get up and go into something thinking I'm going to lose. And if I do lose, I'm going to come up the next day and try twice as hard to beat you.
okay, so
That's all.
what if it's mandated by the government? What if tomorrow
It would-
that's a message?
We would have to honestly see the mandate. We don't, we're ready to respond, but we don't know what to respond yet, because it'll depend on what it says and the legality of it. And I think whatever comes out, you're going to see a hellacious fight, and probably in the courts. So we will deal with whatever, we have to work with whatever mandate they give us, you
But
know?
I
And
just feel
I
like-
know how much time this board, who, they don't get paid, and these people here and my staff out there has had to deal with a lot of stuff. And quite honestly,
So have our kids.
what I hear from everybody is they come up and they point a finger and say, what are you doing? And yesterday was a long day of meetings, trying to, you know, build whatever the coalition might be. We are not politicians, we are educators. We are asking the health officials and the politicians, okay? And when we elect people, you know, get out there, get educated, vote for the people you think are gonna do the best job for us. And I don't wanna argue with you, and I don't wanna fight with you, and we have to also support everybody. But you're asking me to say, what are you gonna do with the mandate? I don't even know what the mandate is. And like I said, I know something's coming tomorrow at around 12 o'clock, and it could be a whole lot of nothing. It could be a whole lot of hot air. It could be another example of someone going on TV to get their face on TV to maybe get a few votes. Or it could be something that splits this community down the middle and once again become the focus of my weekend.
Okay, so you're saying that I'm coming up here saying that we lost. The bottom line is, if there's a vaccine mandate, these kids, and I'm speaking on behalf of parents that couldn't be here tonight, are going to homeschool their kids. So in that case, like, will we get funding from the government? What is out there for us? Like, do you know any of that?
This is why I applaud Senator Wyke, who was not taking a position, but Senator Wyke is urging people to voice their opinion directly to the person who's going to make the decision, because we don't know what the mandate's going to be. And by law, you know, if we don't follow a mandate or a law, we put the district in jeopardy. So that's why we are fighting very hard, but then we have to sit in here, and honestly, we don't mind listening, but
Well,
we're fighting for not just this group or that group, but we're fighting for, you know, the whole district.
Well, I just want to thank Mr. Carplunk for being so passionate about, I think, the way most of us parents feel. These kids, you said, deal with adversity very well. It's been going on for over 20 months. And I spoke once before on mental health. When I tell you I have an 8-year-old that this pandemic has affected in so many ways, her anxiety is through the roof, and the worst thing that could happen is for her to be homeschooled. She cries every day to go to school, but I know that that's the best place for her. So, like, her mental health has failed. If these kids have to be homeschooled, I mean, there's parents, you know, 2 parents working, everyone's gonna have to figure that out. It's frustrating, and I also have a couple of questions for parents that couldn't be here that I wanted to address. So one mom said that it's really not about the mask right now, it's about the vaccine. One other thing I wanted to point out is Merrick School District. They have like doctors that are gonna be waiting on staff to like be prepared for kids that come in like with after effects if this vaccine is mandated. So like this vaccine is just so detrimental to these kids' health, and these kids are like the least affected by it, by COVID, and they're having the most adverse effects. And I don't know if any of you have any like young kids or grandchildren, do you?
I have 2 kids in 4th grade.
Okay, so would you get your kids vaccinated?
I don't know.
Mr. Dolan, grandchildren? I'm just curious because I just,
Great-grandchildren.
Great-grandchildren.
okay, so
No.
would you get your would you feel comfortable getting your grandchildren?
Honestly, when you have a job like mine, my opinion or what I would do with my kids, like I would say to you about your kids, I think that's a personal decision. And I'm not gonna look to play to either side of this by saying what I would do with my kids or hopefully one day my grandchildren. That's a personal decision, and quite honestly, you have to look at the child and you have to look at I've had conversations and very tough conversations with parents who have 2 children, and they said I would vaccinate one and not the other. So,
Okay, I was just
you know what? It's a
curious.
medical issue that should be dealt with between the family and the doctor, not aired out at a, at a public meeting.
Okay, just curious, but, so one mom said she would like to know what the plan is when the kids leave. Does it cut into their funding? Will teachers be let go because of lower attendance? And if this mandate is in effect as of January 6th, are we finishing out the school year?
Again, we will be ready. Let's put it this way, if a mandate comes down at 10 o'clock tonight, we'll be in my office at 10:01. We've had hypothetical discussions, but until we would have to see the mandate, it would have to be, we would speak to our attorneys and find out what we can and can't do. So to answer that kind of hypothetical question would just, I think, feed into some of the let's just say, the inflamed rhetoric.
Okay, I'm gonna ask another question quickly from another parent. Will they allow, this was the next question, will they allow the school year to finish if the mandate is going to go into effect? Or,
I mean, it's
you already
hypothetical, but I can
answered
tell
that.
you, we will finish the school year.
Okay,
That will happen.
okay.
All right.
And,
Thank you.
I'm sorry if I come off confrontational, but this has been going on for 20 months, and as a parent, I'm sure, like, you guys deal with the frustration, I get it, but, like, coming from, like, an emotional level to, like, think that your kids are gonna be subjected to, like, obviously, my kids will not be vaccinated, but, like, I know homeschooling is gonna, like, not do them well, and, like, the best place for kids is to be in school. And I pray that this governor does not mandate it, but I think she's totally gunning for our kids, and it scares the heck out of me.
Thank you.
So if there's anything that you guys can do to fight, please just fight for our kids.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say, we're all as frustrated as everyone else is, and in many ways, in different ways, more so because we've been saying since the new year started that we wanted to go mass optional. But there is no avenue to do that because it happened last year, right? What was that? Is that May that happened last year?
Yeah, Colmac, yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, in Colmac.
Colmac and my own district. On a Friday, the governor had said we were going to be able to go mass optional. On Monday, we went mass optional, and on Tuesday, it was clamped down, and we all had the mask back on. So we could make a gesture and say, hey, we're going to go mass optional, but the very next day, the governor, the state education department would put our clamps on us. Like, we just don't have that flexibility and freedom that people assume that we have. And Mr. Dolan, he deals with, I'm a pain in the ass. And
I second that.
and I know that, we've met, all of us have met a bunch of times. Like, he's doing what he can to get people together county-wide, but every district, as he explained to me, and it makes sense, right? Every district has different goals and different political factions and different constituent groups, and to get a consensus of all the districts, it's difficult. Not everybody's on the same page like we are. We live in our own town and we have our own views, and not everyone's with us. So it's a really tough slog to get through, and no one wants it more than we do. Like we said, we just want mass optional. We're not telling you to rip your mask off. It's just there's no place to go.
I just had one more comment about the mask thing. So, like, that's kind of frustrating to me because we talked about the whole mask, like, in the beginning of the year.
Yes.
My daughters are both in high school. My one daughter is, like, defiant. She doesn't want to wear a mask. She stopped wearing the mask, and teachers gave up on her. She's, like, literally walks around the school without a mask. So on the high school level, these kids are able to push the envelope, and some teachers will let them be mask-free, and some teachers will have them put the mask on. So like, they're getting mask breaks. But it's, in the elementary school, like, they're not really, you know, the mask is a mandate, They get their breaks, but it would be nice if the kids were able to at least take their mask down at their desk. You know,
We've been fighting for that too. We'll
But-
fight for anything. Like we said 2 years ago in March of 2020, we sat here in a meeting and we said, if they told us, at that time, we were willing to wear masks to get the kids back in school. Remember, we weren't even back in school.
Yeah,
We were saying, we'll wear necklaces of garlic, whatever it takes, but they will not budge.
it's
They will not budge. And
frustrating.
we're as frustrated as
Yeah.
you. All we want to do is make it optional.
Yeah.
Or sit at your desk.
But then you're gonna
But
have
it's
the
just,
parents
there's
that want
nowhere
the
for us to
masks,
go.
and then like, it's
There's
just.
no space.
Wait, and, you know, and I think we gotta move this along, but, you know, the hardest part is, and I wasn't trying to be flip before, and I don't like it when I get cranky sometimes.
Get your Irish up.
But the hardest part right now is we do have a very divided community. And people are very passionate about this.
On both
You know,
sides.
and I used to say this all the time, you know, when it comes to our children, first thing that happens is your heart goes in the throat, cuts off the blood flow to the brain, and then people just go crazy. And I will admit, and I'll say it publicly, part of, you know, the strategy for my office is, if both sides are equally frustrated with me, you have something in common so we can start to build back. And I'm not gonna say that I necessarily always like it, because I don't wanna see people frustrated. But conversation like this, look, we're over to 3 minutes, but you know what? The community needs to hear there are two sides to this. These are very, very tricky and passionate issues, and we're here to serve everyone. And for every person that feels one way, there's the other side that
Oh,
feels
I
that
know,
way.
I know.
And, but that's why I keep saying, we will find it. My reference to 1918 was, those folks went through something like we went through, and they did not have the resources or the technology that we have today. And if those folks didn't survive, and actually learn and thrive, we wouldn't be here. So the message is not, woe is us. The message is, damn it, we're gonna get through this together. And like I said, you know, my mother's watching, and she'll be the first one to agree, I have the ability to annoy everybody in the room equally, and sometimes that gives the room something in common, and we're gonna move forward. And we're gonna hear over the next several weeks a number of things, but you have elected officials out there that are now reaching out saying, contact us or contact this woman, you know, contact the governor, and let the system work. Let the system work. And if you feel one way, email every day.
Well,
And,
we've
and,
been
and
doing
that's
that.
for both sides of this argument, both sides of
And
this.
we get emails saying, why you're writing letters. We get a lot of emails saying, why are you writing these letters? So a lot of people feel that way. So I used to feel like the anti-mask people were the majority. I'm not so sure anymore. For the last 9 months, we've gotten more emails saying, keep them on.
Yeah.
Follow the governor. So it's a very difficult situation.
It is, and as a mother, you know, like I said.
Someone said, follow the governor?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the thing, like with the mask, for me as a mom, it's like so hard, because like my daughter is 8, and she literally has like panic attacks every day to go to school. So like, for me to say like, oh, have a great day, honey, put your mask on, knowing that she can't even take it off at her desk, is like, and when she has panic attacks, she's like, she can't breathe, she's almost throwing up, so like.
And we get the same emails the other way, that if masks were mandatory, people wouldn't be able to send their kids to school.
But, I mean,
because
Chris,
they
we
have
still- I
immune
think we-
deficiencies and things, and they say, my kid has a right to be in school too, and they won't be able to go to school if masks are not on everybody.
But let's.
So we get it on both sides.
Yeah.
We do have to move it along, but I think this is a nice way to wrap it up. The school's role in all of this is, we have a child that needs some
You'll have
help.
a chance.
We
Okay,
have,
Joe, I know,
you
I
know,
know.
we have support staff at the elementary schools, and if you contact the school, we have, you know, between the guidance counselors, social workers, psychologists.
Yeah, I just did that
We
today, actually.
get someone to work, you know, with your daughter so we can make her comfortable in school.
Yeah, I actually just had a meeting with them today.
All
All
right,
right,
good.
well, thank you for your time.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Peterson, my apologies, but when we get involved and start talking, it's hard to hold somebody to 3 minutes when we take up most of it, so
That's all right. I just, you know, hopefully.
you'll have equal time.
All right. Well, I came originally primarily to talk about positive things. I work in the special education field. My son is in the special education department here, and we just had an IEP meeting for a change of his services, and it was a really positive experience. And I think it's really important to acknowledge when a positive experience happens. We, you know, want to talk about, you know, the positive things, as Mr. Dolan said. Especially as in my professional capacity, I deal with a lot of districts and a lot of special education services, both non-for-profit, private, school districts. And frankly, a lot of them are not as positive and not as productive as what I've been dealing with here as a parent. So I really just wanted to take a second and acknowledge that and say thank you to the district and to the teams here at Connecticut and overall. So thank you. I also wanted to, again, I didn't get a chance last time to publicly say I really liked, and I know a lot of the other parents in the first grade community at Connecticut, long day. We're really enjoying the multicultural holiday extravaganza they're doing for December. You know, my son comes from a mixed family. My wife is Jewish, so the Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa and Diwali and all that. It's a very positive, really kind of nice experience for all the kids. He's got a very kind of mixed class. So it was really just kind of nice seeing all that representation. I would have liked to have left off there. Unfortunately, I heard a couple things that I frankly have to push back on. I'm kind of concerned hearing out of a board member that he thinks democracy is a flawed system. That really strikes me as deeply concerning. That frankly is kind of the attitude I really shouldn't be hearing out of a member of the people who set our education and our curriculum for the board, for the district. Especially in America, twice in the last 20 years, the person who's gotten the least votes has actually become president. And in several midterm elections, the party that's gotten fewer votes for Senate and for the House of Representatives have actually gotten more people in those bodies. So the idea that somehow the minority party has less say, to me, is somewhat incredulous. Yes, locally in the state of New York, you know, frankly, my side gets more of a say, but we outnumber 70-30, 65-35. I mean, at a certain point, especially when we're talking about matters of public health, you know, the founding fathers were strong believers in public health. You know, George Washington had an inoculation mandate for smallpox during the Revolutionary War for the Continental Army. So it's not like this is something that would be foreign to the founding fathers. I do want to push back a little bit on the idea that vaccines are not safe. A lot of this information comes from VAERS, which is a database used as a first reporting tool for vaccine side effects. Anybody can report to VAERS, and I don't think I'm going to change their minds, anybody in this room, but as this is live streamed and people can see it online, I want to set the record straight. Anybody can report anything to VAERS. You don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a medical expert, you don't have to be a scientist. People then look at those reports, scientists, clinicians, and then try and verify them. That information stays in the database whether it's validated or not. As a result, you kind of get questionable results sometimes in the VAERS database. My personal favorite is VAERS ID number 0221-579-1, where a gentleman reported as a result of an MMR vaccination in 2004, he experienced alien abduction, turning green, super strength, and rage attacks. And this is treated as a VAERS report as an adverse effect. I feel it's worth pointing out that just because something is reported in VAERS as an adverse effect does not mean it's valid. Finally, to kind of sandwich the unfortunate piece with a positive piece, I have friends in the majority leader's office at the legislature for at least another couple of weeks. I reached out to them about the winter track, about the winter track thing, and they said in addition to contacting the legislature, you should also contact County Executive Malone's office, as you can get quite a bit of leverage that way. So, should probably do that.
Didn't think of that one.
Yeah,
Thank you.
They've had a lot of problems just getting even just meetings at Suffolk County Community College facilities recently. So, just get up behind and push.
And look, it's not just the county. I just thought of something. You know, we have youth leagues, and we build this beautiful facility because we want our people playing here. And the insurance companies are, and we're being asked to carry riders that we were never asked to carry before, or, and it's costing more, which is going to get passed on to the leagues. But, and look, we're not. We support our public officials. Whoever gets elected, we're going to work with them. And it's tough, and we're not trying to pass the buck. And I think if you went to Suffolk Community College, the folks there would tell you, we want the kids here.
Sure, it's a liability issue.
Yeah.
And they just want to cover their butts.
They gotta work it out, and, the pressure is being brought to bear. They know they want us there. They know we all want to be there, so.
For sure. So, like I said, send letters to Malone as well. He loves getting mail from constituents, so, thank you.
Mr. Peterson, thank you. That's all. Okay, well, I'd like to wish all our East Islip residents, staff, everybody, very happy holidays. I know it's still different. We were hoping everything would be back to normal by now, but I hope everybody enjoys their holidays and their families. So we'll see you after New Year's. Happy New Year to everybody by the time we come back. The next Board of Education regular business meeting will be held on Thursday, January 13th, 2022 at 8 p.m. Can I get a motion?
Long Range Planning Committee application on Monday, online.
You go, Mr. Peterson. I know you've asked about that, so Monday. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everybody.
The holidays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.